The whole time I've been researching and working on CRAMPED, I keep running into the same mystery, and I cannot seem to make any headway in understanding it. My very basic understanding of capitalism and business is that it goes like this. Step 1, figure out a need or want that a lot of people have that isn't getting met. Find the pain point. Step 2, figure out how to meet that need or want and charge money for it. Step 3, profit. I have been soaking in the stats and the stories of the millions of people who are in literal pain points from their period every month. Just a fire hose of pain and unmet need. And there seem to be very few companies out there interested in providing a solution to that in exchange for money. Whether that's drug companies, private healthcare, devices, or apps. They're out there, but they're few and far between. So why are there so few companies in this space when the need is so great? What are the obstacles to making this a good solution? Is it even ethical to charge people money to patch the gaps in a healthcare system that's failing us?
What's happening to your body, we don't know, because we've never really studied the female body. Say it's all in my head, but the research is quite spotty. No, we've never really studied the female body. I go to the doctor to get dismissed. Try losing weight, you're just anxious. That's fine, that's cool, I'm not pissed. Just wait 10 years for a diagnosis. Psychosomatic, you're so dramatic. Hysterical, emotional, hormonal, erratic. Heart disease, chronic fatigue, depression and anxiety. Do you have pain? No, you don't, because we've never really studied the female body.
Welcome back to CRAMPED, the podcast where I try to find answers to my and other people's questions about their period pain. I'm your host, Kate Helen Downey. Hopefully this podcast feels like meeting a friend at a bar, and that friend just happens to have done a ton of research on a really specific topic about period pain and can't wait to tell you all about it. So then think of the Patreon as a way to buy me a very cheap drink once a month while we're sitting at that bar and I'm telling you all this stuff. With your paid membership, you not only get bonus and ad-free episodes, but you get to get on Zoom with me and other crampers once a month to trade info and to vent. You get to suggest episode topics and vote on the ones you want me to do. And you even get to assign me research questions. So go buy me a drink at a bar called patreon.com/cramped. And just a quick reminder, I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice. I am just a research nerd with a uterus and a microphone sharing what I found. And today, what I found is a founder. One who has actually experienced the physical agony, medical neglect, and financial strain that so many of us go through with severe period pain. And she is making a go of offering a solution to other crampers. To make it very clear, I am not an investor. I am not affiliated with this company. They did not pay me to do this episode. This isn't an ad. I know it's a tricky thing to walk the line on here because by interviewing this founder, I know I'm bringing their product to all of your attention, which is exactly what an ad does. But you can't actually pay money for this company's product yet because their app is still in beta testing. What I'm interested in here is how the founder came to build this, how she sees the landscape, and how she has imagined a solution to these problems. Okay, let's talk to this founder already.
I'm Sushma. I am the founder of Ask Nomi. I'm building this out of lived experience for people dealing with endometriosis. I'm a product builder and human-centered designer. I'm Indian and I live in New York.
Can you tell us about Ask Nomi? What is the dream? If you could fast forward to when it is done, when it is working, when it is in people's lives, what does that look like?
It's access to care for people with cycles. People with cycles are largely women, and women go through multiple care journeys. We're walking around life with no period, then bam, we get our period. For the most healthy of us, we go from period to perimenopause to menopause, and that changes the way we show up a lot. And the system's actually failed us in a lot of ways. So we're building Ask Nomi as an app that starts with end-to-end care for endometriosis. But what it really does is helps you get to better outcomes by doing three things. It tracks your symptoms and your cycles. It connects you to the right point of care, whatever that means based on what you're trying to access, and helps you figure out what works for your body.
No one who listens to this podcast is going to be shocked or surprised to hear that there are huge gaps in care and that the system that we live in medically has really let us down if we are someone who cycles. It is not good out there for a lot of people. So more access to care, more access to information is so important. I feel like a lot of people who end up building stuff in this space, like you and like me, come to it from a really frustrating period pain medical journey. Tell me about your period pain. Lay it out for me.
Yeah. Let me start from the beginning. I got my period when I was 12. Horrible pain. I would pass out and faint because of the puking and the sheer level of pain. We went to a lot of doctors. My dad is a single dad and he has 3 daughters. So I was the only one with this pain. My mom passed the year before. So my dad was trying to navigate this, me hitting puberty and having a ton of pain and not being able to figure it out after seeing tons of doctors. We tried homeopathy. We tried everything. It got to a point where people were like telling me my pain tolerance was low. I'm probably acting out. Like this is a psychological thing because I'm missing my mom and I need TLC. It was pretty wild because I believed a lot of it, right? Like as a child, you're just like, maybe there's something wrong with me.
Of course, with doctors telling you, you've never been in a situation at that age where the doctor or a parent or an adult hasn't had an answer for you. Most of us haven't been in that situation. So it's kind of the first time we're like, wait, am I fucked?
Yeah, exactly. That was my thinking at that point. My dad is amazing. So I had the right support system, which was really nice because that one day of horrible pain would be met with, okay, let's go out for ice cream and let me get you all your favorite snacks. And so it became this ritual month after month after month, prevented me from going to college outside of home because I was too scared. My dad was too scared because of the fainting and everything else. After my undergrad, I got to a better place. And thinking back now, I think it's because like I was exercising consistently and I was doing all of these things, which I think might have improved, much healthier in that sense. And I think the pain just got better over time.
I think also your body can adjust to it to a certain extent. Over years and years, I think your body can or at least not panic when it happens, which can help, but it doesn't mean it's gone away. You just got better at tolerating it.
Yeah, I think I got better at tolerating it, but also maybe I figured out what works. Like I knew I wouldn't eat big meals. I would take ibuprofen earlier.
Yeah, prophylactically. That was a huge thing I figured out in college. I think a doctor even told me, like, you can start taking it like 3 days before your period. Yeah. And it builds up in your bloodstream. Now I know it works because the ibuprofen blocks prostaglandins from ever being released. Yeah. And if you take it after your cramps already start, it might be too late, but if you take it before you're in any pain, then the prostaglandins never get released.
No, exactly. I think that's the wedge I figured out, similar to you as well. And then years later, I went through a very stressful period in life with work, everything else. I moved to the US. So for my grad school, because my periods got better, my dad was like, okay, I think it's fine. And I was like, I'm feeling better. Let me do this. And I moved away from home for the first time to New York, which is wild.
Yeah.
It was the first time I ever came here. It was amazing. I was living my life. I had a painful period, but it was still something I normalized completely. Was going about my life. And 2022 was a horrible year for me. Just work, relationships, my visa, my financial situation, like everything came together. They say when it rains, it pours, which is so true. And that's when I got way worse from a health perspective. I started getting these weird episodes and I didn't know it was called at that time because I didn't know I was experiencing a migraine with aura. I thought I was dying or I thought something was happening to me at that point. I was like, whoa, what's going on? I'm like shaking and there's visions until the point I fainted on the train a couple of times. The scar that is on my face is from fainting.
We all have our train scars.
Oh my God, yes, we do. That point, I was like, something's wrong with my heart. Something's wrong with me. I don't know. I started going to the doctors neurologist, gynecologist, cardiologist.
Yeah.
So I suspect my mom had endo. She passed away from a cardio issue when she was premenopause. So that's what triggered go see a cardiologist because this looks like a heart issue. And at that point, I learned that maybe my mom had endo.
And endo can affect heart disease?
Yes. There is some
didn't know
research
that.
to show that people with endo, they're 3 times more likely to have a stroke or heart failure.
I got curious about this and I went ahead and looked into it. Yeah, it's true. As if we needed more to worry about. A study published in an American Heart Association journal in 2016 looked at over 100,000 women enrolled in a long-term study called the Nurses' Health Study 2. It found that women with confirmed endometriosis had a significantly higher risk of heart attack, stroke, and heart disease. And weirdly, the risk is worse for younger women with endo, and the risk improves with age, which is the opposite of what we're usually told about women and heart disease, that our estrogen protects us until menopause. But apparently, the systemic inflammation and oxidative stress that endometriosis puts on our bodies reverses that protection. Anyway, yes, there definitely is a link between endometriosis and heart disease, especially pre-menopause. Okay, back to Sushma.
This was just me going through the motions of, trying to link every symptom I knew as a 11-year-old that my mom had back to endo and realizing that she probably had endo. She had all of the classic symptoms and I posthumously diagnosed her.
It does seem to have a genetic component. The endosurgeon that diagnosed me, I interviewed her and she said, if a female relative has endo, you have a very high chance of having endo yourself if you have these symptoms.
Yeah, no, I 100% believe that. And that's where the normalization usually starts as well, because your parent or your aunt is like, I've dealt with that. That's normal. You'll be fine.
That's just what getting your period is. Yeah,
exactly. So it's nice to see, on another note, just people like revolting against period pain. That's where we are right now as a society, which is really great.
Yes. Just to say, like, hang on. I don't think we have to just deal with this month after month for our entire adult lives.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick ad break and we'll be right back.
Cause we never really started the female body.
Welcome back to Cramped. We're talking to Sushma Ravindran, the founder of Ask Nomi, a new app that is currently in beta testing, aimed to help people with endometriosis track their symptoms and explore treatment options and self-care. Sushma is laying out her own diagnosis story, which was made more complicated by mysterious symptoms like shaking episodes, strange vision issues, and fainting. So, okay, you were investigating what you thought was maybe a heart issue or a neurological issue. Then what happened?
I spent thousands of dollars.
Yep.
I got to see a lot of doctors, spent a lot of money, got no answers, which I realized much later was actually the norm. I'm not the anomaly.
Yeah.
Like, that's what pushed me into becoming a founder. But at that time, I was like, what the fuck is going on with me? Like, why is this happening? And I found an endometriosis specialist. By the way, I had gone to many gynecologists in the US and I've told them specifically, hey, I think I have endometriosis.
What did the doctors tell you when you brought up endometriosis?
The gynecologist said I don't have it. One of them said that. The other one said you need to get on birth control either way.
The lack of knowledge among gynecologists, when 10% of people with uteruses have endometriosis, I went to doctor after doctor and was like, hey, I heard about endometriosis. Seems like I have all of the symptoms. What's the process here? And I was told I don't have endometriosis because I don't have heavy periods.
Yeah.
I was told I don't have endometriosis because my pain was not getting worse through the years. It wasn't progressing. It was staying the same. And they were like, so it's not endo.
Yeah.
I was told I might have endo, but the only treatment is surgery, and there was no point in getting a diagnosis because I only had pain one day every couple months.
Yeah.
And so they were like, it's not worth it for you. That doctor made the decision for me that it was not worth it for me to get surgery for one day of pain every couple months.
Yeah.
And I was like, hang on.
They said the same thing about my heavy periods, same thing about surgery as well. There's no point of you getting a diagnosis if you can try hormonal birth control over getting a scary surgery. And it was tough. So yes, found this amazing doctor through a bunch of Google searches. I got excision surgery and finally a confirmative diagnosis that I had endo. And my migraines, my fainting, I got a POTS diagnosis through that. Fun. I'm glad someone honked for me at that exact moment. Yes, I got my diagnosis. I was so happy, but I spent $20,000 out of pocket, which was half my savings at the time. I was still super happy that I got an answer. Like, there's nothing that could beat that answer. I would pay $20,000 over again.
Yeah.
But little did I know that endo did not have a cure. I just got this label and I'm like walking around so happy that I know what it is, only to realize that I am now stuck with this disease lifelong and there isn't any research on what works, or we don't understand this disease enough. So then came the rage and the anger and
Yeah. Oh my God. Same exact trajectory I had. I was expecting so much relief from just getting the diagnosis. And I left the hour-long appointment with the endometriosis specialist where she was like, yeah, you have endo. And I went to my car and I cried because instead of handing me a prescription for a pill that was going to fix my pain or scheduling a surgery, she was like, we're going to do at least a year of pelvic floor physical therapy. We're going to have you see a nutritionist. There's no cure. And these are all the things we're going to do to try to peel back the layers of damage that endo has done on top of the root cause before we're even going to talk about doing a surgery and getting at the root cause. And I was like, oh, and none of this is covered by insurance. And this is just a thing I have to live with, and I have to pay a lot of money to undo the damage that could have been caught decades ago. And it was just such a immediate, oh no. It's good to have the knowledge, but it's not a fix. It didn't feel like it got me closer to not being sick anymore. And it did get me closer to not being sick anymore, but it just wasn't going to be an easy journey.
Yeah, because a lot of it is not like a quick pill to take, right? It's actual hard work where we put our money, sweat, and tears into it to try to get to a semblance of a normal life.
And we're so tired. The average endometriosis diagnosis, it takes 7 to 10 years in the US, but so many people that I've talked to, it's taken much, much longer.
Yeah.
And we're so tired and we're so in pain and we're so broke from trying to fix it. And then we're told, now you have years and years of mostly uncovered by insurance treatment that might work or might not, or this will get you 10% better, this will get you 5% better. So you have a new part-time job.
Yeah.
That costs you money.
Exactly. I was like, yes, it's like a child you never wanted.
Yeah.
You just have to take care of it. And I completely hear you on the peeling the layers of years of damage we've done to our body, because nobody actually tells you that. And that's where I feel like from a patient perspective, you lose trust over and over again. It's like you're getting into a bad relationship after the other and you just have medical burnout.
Yes, 100%.
Why am I spending all of this money and getting to no answers and a distrust in the system that I almost give up?
Yeah, it's so frustrating. You get depressed, you get hopeless, you get full of rage. I try to be very clear that I'm a cis white person in an average sized body, and this has been my experience. Like, how much worse is it for people out there who are fat, who are not white, who are trans, anyone who does not have all the stacked privileges that I do, and I still got absolutely just ruined by this medical system. And who else are we supposed to go to? Because if you're not gonna partake in the system that has completely run you over with a truck, then you go out into an unregulated world of scammers and grifters and supplement hawkers. Maybe you find there's some great TCM practitioners out there who a lot of people have said have really helped them. There's some great gems out there that can be helpful, but you gotta pick through a sea of shit to find them.
Yeah.
There's no good options.
Yeah, no, I 100% hear that. I felt like I had all of the privilege. I had access to finances. I had access to doctor friends. I'm educated. I know that the system exists. And I still was so failed by the system. 18 years to get my diagnosis. It was horrible. A lot of people ask me, because I grew up in India, they're like, oh, wow, you went to America and you got your diagnosis. And I'm like, no, 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 no. That is not what happened. I saw 10 other doctors here who dismissed me and sent me back into the cycle of dismissal, I call it, where I didn't get to answers till I got to a point where I was fainting on the train and I had to go to the ER.
So you got your surgery, you got your diagnosis. Tell me about deciding to build Ask Nomi.
After my diagnosis, I was ecstatic for maybe a month, and then I realized my pain wasn't gone. I was like, maybe this is just recovery. I've been told that it could be recovery. I'm on all of these Reddit threads. That's when I realized that I'm not alone, which was a scary but comforting moment. I got a lot of information from there, and I started to piece together what I thought would be a better care journey for me personally. And so I went completely gluten-free. I stopped drinking alcohol as much. It was hard because I like wine, but
I'm with you on that.
yeah, I learned that CBG was a very good pain blocker. And so I got some CBG and I would smoke it and eat it, which kind of helped with some of the pain. Working out more regularly, all of that put together of like me going on Reddit and Google searches and figuring out what could help my body at the time was how I pieced together a care plan. I got an Apple Watch, which was great because it would tell me if I was going to faint, basically. Like I checked my
Oh, nice.
and so that was a way for me to slow down and sit down or get some water and not rush into things when I wasn't feeling okay or I felt the POTS coming up. Surprisingly, my POTS symptoms and migraines went away after I stopped eating gluten, which was strange because I was never gluten intolerant in my life. Stopping gluten because of advice from, I think, a podcast that talked about gluten intolerance helped me be okay and walk around, take a train without being scared of fainting. That was huge for me. And thanks to the fact that I have a physician husband who like got me an appointment with a hematologist, I was able to check my blood work and confirm that I was indeed iron deficient anemic.
Yep.
Which was fun. But the fun part was getting iron infusions and getting my iron levels back up. I felt like I got my life back. I am not kidding you.
Wow.
That was huge for me. I'm lucky and I know I'm privileged in that aspect, but that's really what brought me into the space of how do we build a better health system for women. And I did a bunch of research from a personal standpoint, and now I feel like I know where we are at as a society. And so I want to build something with the skills I know how, which is product building and human-centered design. So I quit my first company and I came to build in women's health.
Yeah.
And I would hate myself if I didn't do it.
What are the obstacles for an app like this in women's health?
It is a tough market right now. Everybody is a founder, and I really have to ground myself in why am I building this? Use technology and AI for good. It is really how I'm approaching this. And I truly believe that we can build a better system by acknowledging the facts that we don't know everything, right? For women's health. What I'm really building is a way for you to test yourself and know what works for you. And then once you build that, you can share that with other people and say, hey, this has worked for me in a way that isn't prescribing people, but also letting people know, hey, these are the avenues of care you can try. It's going to take us a really long time to like build this and get it to a place that's working. But that being said, the exciting part is everybody I've met through this journey has made it worthwhile. Users, beta users, we have 40 beta users on the app right now. It's like an Endo sisterhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'm building for my people who are going through very similar struggles. That's the part that makes me happy. That's the positive side of it. Let's dive into the business aspect of it. The business aspect of it is healthcare is typically built in a way that appeases insurance companies and employer insurances as well, because that's the American reality. I do believe that with technology advancing the way it is, the consumerization of healthcare is here, meaning consumer demands are being met with better products in the broader scheme of things, in little pockets. I don't think I'm too delusional that I'm building for consumers directly, but it is a hard bridge to cross from an investor standpoint. We are not taking any institutional investment right now, and we don't want to. We want to go the angel route and see how far we can get. Women with endo are paying so much money. We actually pay 3 times more than the average person for healthcare to get nowhere.
I believe that 100%.
It's as prevalent as diabetes in women. Diabetes is something people care about.
And that's a huge market. There are so many drugs out there for diabetes. There are so many services and products for people with diabetes. So many companies are making money off of selling medical products for diabetes, but not endo.
You know why? Because diabetes affects men.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I was having a lot of fun talking to Sushma about her diagnosis path and the possible solutions she's building for other people, and I kind of let my hard-nosed reporter hat fall off. After listening back to the interview afterwards, I realized I still had questions about the app that I hadn't asked, especially after I had made that AI episode, which made me think a lot more about how AI is used by individuals for health issues. Sushma mentioned earlier that AI is used in the Ask Nomi app, so I emailed her with some follow-up questions. My first question was, are you finding that it's possible to use AI within Ask Nomi without risking exposure of private health data? And what about AI hallucinations? Sushma clarified her stance. She is not anti-AI, but she is anti-big tech in its current form. The app she's building does not use AI to give medical care or advice. Any care or advice is given by actual human experts. AI is used in an administrative and organizational way for things like helping people track patterns in their symptoms over time. She explained that the AI model they're using doesn't hallucinate because unlike models like ChatGPT, it isn't giving advice. It also doesn't have access to vast amounts of bad information from the internet at large. On the data privacy question, Sushma says that they are currently testing on-device AI models, meaning that your health data would never leave your phone or go to another server. I do not know enough about AI or phones to really understand that or if it's possible, but she stressed that they are slowly and cautiously building this app in order to prioritize safety, which I think is what we want from any company that is utilizing AI right now. My second question was why she had chosen to build this as a consumer app instead of working inside the healthcare system. There is a way to look at that where it feels a little icky, like people would have to pay for access to information and support that they're not getting from the healthcare system. What about people who can't pay but really need this access and this support? Sushma clarified that the app itself will always be free, which I think means the symptom tracking. The care that they can connect people to, meaning the human experts, that's the paid part. And they are working on getting the care portions covered through insurance reimbursement, which would include Medicaid. She explained something that I hadn't considered, that by going direct to consumer, they can prove the effectiveness of this model of care and then use that proof to get insurances to cover it. She pointed out that the current model of care for endometriosis within the healthcare and insurance system is straight up broken and does not work. So they don't want to replicate that same system or rely on it. By building outside the system and building it directly for the end user, they can gather proof that this model improves health outcomes and then push for insurance coverage on their terms, ideally making it much easier for people to access care. Those questions are as close to hard-nosed journalism as I think I get. I have a theater degree, not a journalism degree. I feel like I'm getting defensive because I keep feeling like I'm doing an ad for this app. But my fascination with this is around how someone who has been through the hell of undiagnosed endo, getting a diagnosis, getting treatment within a broken system, this person is building something to help other people in the same situation. And you know what? I'm just realizing it is the exact same thing I'm trying to do. Oh my God, that's why I'm interested in this. Okay, we are both trying to build something that makes it so no one has to go through that same hell again. We just have very different backgrounds and skill sets, so we're building two very different things. Okay, I figured it out. Thanks for going on this journey with me. One thing that impresses me about Sushma is her optimism. I am someone who has struggled with a lot of grief and rage and hopelessness on my own path with this disease. And Sushma seems to have hope and optimism about how things could go right in this field.
I think the awakening is happening now. I do see more people waking up and realizing that women's health is underfunded and it's a great financial opportunity. Let's focus on the great financial opportunity bit. That is really gaining traction with more women investors coming to the table with funds that they're raising to invest in women's health specifically, to like BCG and McKinsey just quantifying in numbers what the financial opportunity is, which is, I think 1 trillion is what they said is the women's health opportunity, which is huge.
Yeah. It gives me hope because, okay, if NIH, government funded like medical system is failing us, theoretically, this is how capitalism is supposed to work, right? Is there's an unmet need and a product or a service or a business comes in to fill that need, and that's how we get innovation. Forgive me if I'm a little suspicious of capitalism saving the day, but I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah. I have changed my mind on this. I was very skeptical of it. Trust me, I have been very anti-capitalist. But as a founder, entering this space and looking at a lot of social impact founders and VCs as well, I do feel a little bit more hopeful. What I do think we're doing wrong is America's policy and the way we've built some of these systems fundamentally fail us as humans. That combined with capitalism on steroids is what we have here. The unmet need has become very evident because of awareness and people talking about it on social media compared to even 10 years ago when we didn't talk about it. That conversation wasn't happening and people weren't talking about it in the open. And there weren't too many female investors, and that number's growing. So I do feel like that tide is coming, but you should be skeptical of capitalism saving the day. I am.
I think we can move forward with hope, but skepticism.
100%.
On this journey to build this platform, what's the most surprising thing that you learned or realization that you had?
The main one was just how willing people are to talk about it.
Okay.
I started doing user research like more formally, have a call and do it. But then when I like broke down those walls and I spoke to my masseuse and my acupuncturist and somebody else and my Uber driver, it got to a point where everybody is so openly talking to me about their period, the pain with sex, the pain with urination and bowel movements and poop, period poops. These are shared concepts now, thanks to social media. Like we have words to talk about it.
Do you love that? Because I love going to a party and being introduced to somebody who's like, oh, this is Kate. She has a podcast about period pain. And immediately the other person is like, oh my God, wait, I just had the craziest period of my life. Or wait, I just went to the doctor and they told me I might have endometriosis. Can we talk about this? I adore skipping the small talk part, skipping everything that you usually talk about at parties, and just like ending up in a corner with 3 other women being like, wait, what? No, you? Yes? Ah.
Oh my God, I love it. I love it so much. It's like a sisterhood of witches.
You just immediately get to a very intimate place with a stranger and you feel very safe. You feel very supported. Sometimes people ask me like, is it weird that everybody wants to talk to you about their period pain? And I'm like, no, because I spent 22 years of my life not really talking about it and feeling totally isolated and alone. And it feels like it's healing a big emotional wound for me to just completely openly with strangers have them talk to me about their period pain. That is very healing.
Yeah, oh my God. I absolutely love it. 100%.
If someone listening to this right now is in the exact same position that you were in before you got your diagnosis and your treatment plan, what would you tell them? Like, how would you help them get to a better place quicker than you did?
Okay. Pain is not normal. All types of pain is important to note. We don't know enough about the female bodies or any of the diseases affecting us yet. So it is sadly up to us to experiment and figure out what works for our bodies. Find your people, find the right doctor, do your research, talk to friends and family who have been through similar situations and had some success. find the right support system. I feel like a lot can just improve with better diet, movement, sleep, and support. And when I say support, I mean talk to friends, talk to strangers, go to meetups that relate to period pain, or if you have endo or PCOS specific to that. Know that you're not alone. There are millions of us. Like, just connecting could also help us heal.
And speaking of connecting, how can people get involved in Ask Nomi and be beta testers or whatever else you need as you're building this?
Yeah, Kate, I'm going to share a link with you if you're able to share it with,
of course,
folks.
I will put it in the show notes.
Yes. So be a tester if you have period pain and give me feedback. We're building with the community, so knowing exactly what you want, what works, is really helpful. Right now, our app is in beta testing, which means that we're still figuring out all of the feature set and our go-to market. The app is a conversational symptom tracker that is built for period pain. So it helps people understand if their cycles are getting better or worse, so what your patterns look like, so you can be more knowledgeable about your cycle. And we are piloting group care classes as well. So pelvic floor therapy, that's way more accessible, because right now it's $300 to go get a pelvic floor in-person assessment. We are not replacing that by any means, but we're making the entry point more accessible by charging like $15 per session for a group class, so you can understand a little bit more about what pelvic floor is about while doing it in like a new Pilates style form. And we're doing other care classes as well, nutrition, mental health, and more somatic work as well that we know helps with period pain. All of these therapies are usually inaccessible because A, it's hard to find someone who understands endo, and B, it's really hard to find a in-network person who you can access continuously and pay less than $50.
That wouldn't necessarily replace any of those services if they are available to you, but it's a way you can learn more about it and to start that practice in a way that you can with what you have.
Exactly. So anybody who wants to help out in that front or just be involved in any way can also reach out to me.
Okay, I will put those links in the show notes. I'm so glad there are people like you out there building things that hopefully the next generations will be able to use and not have to go through what we went through.
I hope so too.
That's it for this week's Cramped. What do you think? Are we naive idiots for thinking capitalism could maybe be a part of an improvement in women's healthcare? Is an app a good tool to help track symptoms and help us manage how we're taking care of ourselves? Or is it just an inadequate Band-Aid over the gaping holes in our healthcare system? Tell me all about it by commenting on this episode in the Patreon. And while you're there, go ahead and become a patron. It is the equivalent of buying me a really cheap drink once a month in a bar where I will probably be invading everyone's privacy by asking what health apps they're using. Go to patreon.com/cramped. You can also email me at crampedpodcast@gmail.com. See you next time.
What's happening to your body? We don't know, because we've never really studied the female body.